Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel on this Wednesday, October the 20th. And this is going to be also a plug time for my new tech sites, BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. So if you guys haven't followed me there, you can check those sites below this video. And we started off with the archive today because, of course, we don't necessarily want to give all that attention to different media sources for their clicks. The New York Times, Bannon rebuffs subpoena from January 6th inquiry invoking executive privilege. The refusal of the former advisor to President Donald Trump to comply with the subpoena raises the prospect of a legal battle for evidence in the inquiry. Now, the curious thing about this is I'm going to read from a section of it here. It is therefore clear to us that since the executive privileges belong to President Trump, and he has, through his counsel, announced his intentions to assert those executive privileges enumerated above, we must accept his direction and honor his invocation of executive privilege, except for the fact that they continue to go after President Trump regardless, because they already know that presidents, current presidents and former presidents do have that executive privilege. In other words, so they can't be prosecuted because, of course, the presidency is an institution here in the United States. It's an iconic position of power. It is the seat of our government, as it were. And so, of course, we can't just go around arresting all of our presidents for particular issues that would be perhaps criminal worthy in some situations, in some circumstances, of course, because, as you know, it's kind of cat and mouse when it comes to some of these sorts of things where, you know, there's the letter of the law and there's the spirit of the law. And, of course, it all depends on which individual is in the White House, what letter is next to his name, depending on how a lot of this unfolds. So we go here to CNN Politics. January 6th panel moves to hold Steve Bannon in criminal contempt, it says. It's from the 14th. The committee investigating the January 6th Capitol Hill riot announced Thursday it is moving forward to hold Trump ally Steve Bannon in criminal contempt for refusing to comply with a subpoena as his game of chicken with the House panel now enters into a new critical phase. Now, here's the curious thing. CNN and other, perhaps, outlets continue with these sorts of stories, knowing the outcomes already. First, the committee itself is not a court of law, okay? So they're not going to be handing out different, for example, indictments, or they won't be trying Steve Bannon. Now, they can do these investigations, which many of us have obviously seen over the years as being just an opportunity for government to kind of flex a little bit, to show that, hey, we're here, we're doing our jobs, and this is what we do. Because we've seen this when it comes to Jack Dorsey. We've seen this when it comes to Mark Zuckerberg. Nothing really becomes a lot of these particular investigations, as we see people kind of proverbially, metaphorically dragged up on the hill there for these investigations. So, and here's the other thing that they entertain themselves with. This is part of the staged, contrived, delusional bizarreness of the left in their opinions and thoughts here from Press, or the Hill Press. Steve Bannon behind bars in Capitol basement? They ask a question, knowingly. For those who relish the image of Steve Bannon behind bars in the Capitol basement jail, and I admit it, I am one of you, I have good news and bad news. Well, I have good news and bad news. When it was lock her up, it was outrageous that people at a Trump's rally would be shouting, lock her up, to Hillary Clinton. How outrageous and absurd. But of course, they want to continue the kind of orange man bad. And as you notice in each of these articles, they always include President Trump in these types of discussions, because they have to bring him in to do the disparaging, to hang the black cloud over President Trump. And of course, from the Hill also, ironically enough, FBI finds scant evidence January 6th attack was coordinated from Reuters. The FBI has found little evidence at this point to suggest that the Jan 6 attack on the Capitol was largely coordinated by supporters of former President Trump or right-wing groups, according to a Reuters report. 90 to 95% of these are one-off cases, a former senior law enforcement official told Reuters. Then you have 5% maybe of these militia groups that were more closely organized, but there is no grand scheme with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all these people to storm the Capitol and take hostages. So here you see, of course, they've pointed to Roger Stone, they pointed to Alex Jones, they pointed to the Proud Boys, they pointed to anyone they could if they wanted to point to, see, Oath Keepers, Patriot Prayer, whomever they could point to, they wanted to point to. And we also learned that there was also some involvement with an FBI informant, which is very similar to what was going on with Gretchen over there in Michigan, where she was claiming, or there was a claim of some threats to her existence, I guess is the way I could frame it. And it ended up being more of the FBI kind of leading these people on into that sort of activity. So when it comes to subpoenas, let's go back into the BuzWeaver archive, and we may remember the Clinton subpoena dodge. 2 witnesses take the 5th, and one fails even to honor a subpoena, and that one person being Hillary Clinton herself. And here from House Committee on Oversight and Reform, the very committees that some of these organize, House Republicans issued more than 70 subpoenas and letters investigating Hillary Clinton just since the FBI's decision on emails in July. That was back in 2016. FBI confirms grand jury subpoenas used in Clinton email probe. Contrary to widespread reports, federal prosecutors issued grand jury subpoenas in connection with an investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server, an FBI official indicated in a court filing this week. Hillary Clinton caught in lie. Benghazi committee contradicts claim of no subpoena. Democratic presidential frontrunner Hillary Rodham Clinton's credibility came under a new assault on Wednesday when the Republican-led House Special Committee on Benghazi released its March 4th subpoena to refuse the former Secretary of State's claim that she was never subpoenaed to turn over emails, and she was. Not only is Hillary Clinton dodging the subpoenas, she's just outright saying it never happened. I mean, why not? Whatever happened to Hillary anyway? Very little. And probably the same for Steve Bannon as well. But more importantly, it isn't just limited to Benghazi. It isn't limited to just her email servers. Revealed from, this is the February 12, 2016, revealed, State Department Inspector General issued subpoena to Clinton Foundation. The State Department Inspector General issued a subpoena last fall targeting the Clinton Foundation and some of the charitable events hosted by the organization. The Inspector General is looking into whether some of these events required the permission of the federal government. So, despite the fact that the Trump detractors are kind of wringing their hands, and it could be that because Joe Biden and the administration is getting so much negative attention, I'm having trouble speaking today. I think I'm trying to speak too quickly is what it is. Need to just calm down. So, I think a lot of it really has to do with the fact that with Joe Biden taking such a huge hit in the administration and the continuing shortages that we're experiencing, the issues we're seeing with China and Russia, because of course, I've said this before many times, that once we have a Democrat president, there are certain things that you can absolutely depend on. One, that the taxes are going to go up, which is going to affect the economy, and international activity is going to go up exponentially, meaning that our allies, who always claim to be our allies, are going to be expecting money from the Democrat president to I kind of say it as friendship money. Now, I'm talking very tongue-in-cheek and very general here. I could go into specifics, very similar to, say, like the France agreement that they have there that, for the climate change, the Paris Agreement, I should say. And so we're paying 60% of that. And what exactly are we paying for other than supplying them with all the benefits? Very much like the EU, how we support many of the aspects of the EU, the UN, and of course the forces over there, the peacekeeping forces in Europe that we also pay for. So we pay for all these things, and of course they're going to be friendly towards us. Of course they're going to want to be kind and generous and not talk badly about the president when they're being fed all of their money. So I just kind of think that this may be just a distraction for the left, who is struggling desperately right now because people going to the store, buying gas, buying groceries, can go out there and see it, buying appliances, buying used cars. Any of these things, people can clearly see that there is a issue going on in the economy, to include the shortages as well, and then what's going on internationally. But that's what I have for you guys today on this Wednesday, October the 20th. For the new tech sites, guys, which you can find below this video, by all means, be sure you're following me there on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute. I appreciate all the support, as well as here on YouTube. That would be the channel icon appearing right there on the screen to subscribe. You can click on that, as well as notifications, so you'll know when there's content here on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.